Joining us now from North Carolina is the aforementioned media expert, Bernard Goldberg. How about that for a lead? Pretty good?
You got it all right. And you're one of the few people who's reporting on Yuri Berliner who actually remembered that in 1996, I did what he did in 2024.
Exactly. There was no difference. And Berliner, like you, was personally offended because he thought it was unfair. He thinks it's unfair, right?
Exactly.
So after all this time, the left-wing media has gotten way more left than it was when you and I were at CBS News, I believe, and way more intolerant. Well, I don't know about that because you were iced. And that must have really been difficult for you, right?
Well, I was iced in a social way more than a journalistic way. Rather didn't want any part of me. You're right about that. But I had friends who didn't want to be seen within the same zip code as me because that might get word back to Dan Rather, and who knows what might happen then. But I didn't get suspended. I didn't get fired. And I think one of the reasons is Michael Jordan came to my defense. Not that Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the CEO of Westinghouse, the company that owned CBS at the time. And he gave an interview to a magazine in which he said, I understand what Bernie Goldberg said, and he's gone to something. And I think that saved me from being suspended or worse at CBS. And then
why then, 4 years after you wrote the Journal article, did you leave? I mean, you were a star at CBS. They were giving you all good assignments.
Because 60 Minutes 2 came along. And while some people in the front office said, this is a quote, it's a no-brainer that Bernie should be on that show, because Rather was the chief correspondent on that show, I got iced out of that show. And I said, I've had enough of this crap. And I called and I quit. Was
that a wise move in hindsight?
That's a very interesting question. In hindsight, the best move I've ever made, because I wound up on your show. I wrote 5 books. None of that would have happened if I didn't quit. I would have been at CBS, and then they would have dumped me like they dumped a whole bunch of other people. And I don't know where I'd be today.
All right.
I took a chance when I quit. I took a huge chance, but it was the best move I ever made.
Okay, I'm glad it worked out. Now, one more thing on this, and then we'll go into ABC News. It's possible that people didn't want to be seen with you because you're you. Cheap shot alert. I've had dinner with Goldberg. I know he has trouble with the fork. Okay, let's go to ABC News. So that's CBS News and NPR. Now we're over at ABC. ABC News runs The View. It's incredible. But ABC News is in charge of The View, not ABC Entertainment. If it were entertainment, I'd have no beef at all. I wouldn't care what they did. But with news, it's a little bit different. So the ladies on The View are all rooting for a criminal conviction for Donald Trump. They're rooting. Roll the tape.
They are never going to find someone that doesn't know about the former twice impeached loser president, right? They're never going to find that. But what I did find also interesting about my Super Bowl is that the legal teams will be checking the jurors' social media profiles to see if they can assess the truthfulness and intention of what they said during voir dire, which is their questioning. And I think that's really, really important, because if you start liking Trump's and you follow Trump stuff on social media, can you be impartial?
Can you be impartial? Yeah, but the others, it's okay if you hate her. Exactly. But when she refers to Super Bowl, she means Miss Hostin does. And I gave Miss Hostin her start on television, by the way, and I like her as a person. Her Super Bowl is a Trump conviction. So my question to you, Goldberg, is this. How can ABC News run this operation and then tell the American people it's fair?
I don't know. But the only thing I could conjecture from this is that it is a successful show in terms of daytime ratings. They pay their people, Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the others, millions and millions of dollars. So they must be making a lot of money, the show. And maybe that money is used to finance other things at ABC News. Maybe that money is used to finance coverage of the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza. But I worked for CBS News when Walter Cronkite was the anchor, and then later Dan Rather. And I can't imagine, and I don't think, well, I'll let you speak for yourself, Bill, but I can't imagine that CBS News allowing a show like that to be part of CBS News.
It besmirches the operation.
Exactly.
When I was working for Peter Jennings would have never, ever, and Jennings was powerful, ever allowed that in a million years. And then you have George Stephanopoulos, who is deemed the top news correspondent at ABC News, when he is obviously a Democratic activist. I mean, so I think we can both conclude that all standards of fairness have collapsed at the network level. Would that be fair to say?
Well, all standards of fairness. I mean, they've been liberal, they are liberal, and they will continue to be liberal. That much, I'll go that far.
Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532.